Apple made waves with its dynamic island, which turned its notch cutout into a usable but still controversial feature. It was only a matter of time before Android phones followed suit, and here we have the first, the Realme C55. This here is not quite an iPhone contender, more like a budget mid-ranger, but besides the notch feature, what does the Realme C55 have to offer? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our full review. The Realme C series is known for bringing decent specs on a low budget, and the Realme C55 continues that tradition. Compared to the previous model, the C33, it has a higher res display, an updated chipset and main camera, and faster charging. It's also basically the same phone as the Realme Narzo N55, except the Narzo doesn't have NFC. The C55 is built from plastic, but looks good. The flat back has a matte finish, and in our colorway has a thin pinstripe texture going on. The frame is flat too. Something that catches the eye is the glossy camera island, with two big circles for the cameras, even though one of them is just a depth sensor. On the front of the Realme C55 is a 6.72-inch LCD with a 1080p resolution and a 90Hz refresh rate. 1080p is actually a nice perk considering the budget class, and is a clear upgrade over the previous model's 720p display. Since it's an LCD, it's not as contrasty as an AMOLED, but at least the color accuracy here isn't too bad. The max brightness is decent. We measured up to 550 nits with the manual slider, and this can boost up to 650 nits when in auto mode. And the 90Hz refresh rate smooths out your swiping and scrolling on screen, plus you can dial down when idling to save some energy. And then there's the new dynamic island, aka the mini capsule. It honestly doesn't do a whole lot. For now, it only turns on when you charge the phone to show the status for a couple of seconds, or it'll pop up when you're reaching your data limit. More functions, including a step counter, are said to come soon via software update. The Realme C55's audio is tuned by Dirac. There's a 3.5mm headphone jack and a single bottom firing speaker. The loudness is below average here, and the sound quality is just okay with a focus on mids.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
You can wake up and unlock the Realme C55 with a side-mounted fingerprint reader. It can be set to require a press to activate, preventing any accidental activations. And it's possible to get the phone with 64, 128, or 256 gigs of storage, and that's expandable through microSD. The interface of the Realme C55 is Realme UI 4.0 on top of Android 13. The software experience here is similar to what you'd get on any recent Realme, Oppo, or OnePlus phone. Since there's an LCD though, there's no always-on display, and you also are missing large folders and dynamic widgets here. You can check out our dedicated Realme UI video if you'd like to learn more about specific features. The chipset of the Realme C55 is a budget-level MediaTek Helio G88. It promises decent performance, and in benchmarks, the C55 scores aren't terrible. They are a bit subpar for the class though. Overall, the phone can handle casual games and does an okay job in your day-to-day tasks, but you may feel some slow loading times once in a while. The Realme C55 sports a large 5000 mAh battery, and it did a great job in our battery tests, scoring an endurance rating of 123 hours. And the phone brings 33 watts SuperVOOC charging, a first for Realme's C series. I wouldn't call it crazy fast, but we were able to charge the C55 from 0 to 50% in half an hour, which is good for the class. Now on to the cameras, or rather camera. On the back, the Realme C55 has a 64-megapixel main cam and a depth sensor. The main cam's photos come out at 16 megapixels by default due to pixel binning. They're good for the class, with enough detail and low noise. The colors are saturated, but likable. There's plenty of contrast, and the dynamic range is wide enough too. Since there's a dedicated depth sensor, you'd expect great portraits, but these are just decent. The subject separation can be hit or miss, but if there's enough light, the subject comes out well exposed, detailed, and colorful. Low-light photos from the main cam are okay. The noise reduction is gentle, which leaves some noise behind, but also preserves some of the detail. The contrast is good, and the dynamic range is decent. Night mode photos take a few seconds to capture, and they have improved exposure, dynamic range, and color saturation. However, there is hardly any improvement in the detail rendition. Selfies from the 8-megapixel front-facing cam are good. They're sharp enough, and the detail is okay. There's a good contrast, the colors look nice, and dynamic range is helped out by the Auto HDR. The Realme C55 can capture video with its main cam and up to 1080p resolution at 60fps. The footage looks great, there's plenty of detail, good dynamic range and contrast, and popping colors. The audio quality is pretty bad though, and there's no video stabilization. So that's the Realme C55. The gimmicky notch animation aside, this is a solid budget phone. There's a large 1080p screen, a nice design, very good battery life, and decently fast charging. The camera is great for the price too, even if there's only one. There are a few things that might turn you off here: a quiet speaker and poor audio quality when you're capturing video. Also, there are faster chipsets around. But if these things don't bother you, then the Realme C55 could be a solid choice for the price. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're after alternatives to the Realme C55, one option could be the Moto G53. Or you could have a look at the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 4G. Let us know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.